Yeah, I have a friend, and she was married into the mafia for over 20 years, 20, 30 years. And she tells a story that I really feel is valid for understanding, real empowerment. And as her marriage came to an end, a lot of the figures were trying to put her on charges for embezzlement, and the trial went on for many, many years, and it got very ugly, very nasty, and she was looking at, even though she had done nothing wrong, the bosses had a lot of money, very powerful attorneys, and it didn't look good. And so after almost 7 years of going on trial and back and forth and all this insanity, she just said, I surrender. Just put me in jail. And about a week later, a very well-known boss showed up at her door, and she was expecting him to either kill her or have her killed. And instead he hands her a letter saying that a bank account had been set up in her name for over $30 million. And if you look at the whole story or parable of Jesus and the crucifixion and the resurrection, Jesus surrendered to the enemy. And in my perspective or my opinion, even Jesus said, forgive them, for they know not what they do. The crucifixion wasn't the suffering that the church makes it out to be. In fact, the gift was the resurrection, to show that death was an illusion. But he wouldn't have been able to show that death was the illusion, that life is eternal, if he had not surrendered to the enemy. And so, like the Course in Miracles says, surrender everything to God. Surrender everything to God, and don't. And I guess the truth is, there's really no enemy. There's only aspects of you. But if you want to use it to understand, surrender to the enemy, and especially, with all this stuff in the Middle East, with the Israelis and the Palestinians, someone needs to get over themselves and get off this whole thing that this land belongs to me. No, it belongs to me. No, it should belong to us. We have it. My grandfather promised it to me 20 years ago, 20 million years ago. No, his brother promised it to us 30 million years ago. It's like, is it really working for you? It's the entire world is on eggshells over this stupid conflict. Someone needs to surrender to the enemy, and whatever is getting at you, surrender to it. It's like Ganesh. Ganesh is the Hindu symbol for the remover of obstacles, and yet he's always riding on a very tiny mouse. And the analogy is that what is it that we let ride on our backs? What are things that we are holding on to? And when are we going to let it go? And someone either from Israel or the Palestinians needs to let it go, because it's not that important. To quote the Native Americans, we do not belong, the land doesn't belong to you, we belong to it. Go somewhere else. Go where you're wanted. Surrender to the enemy and create the miracle of the resurrection. Namaste.